The UK government may have violated environmental law on regulating sewage overflows. That is according to the environmental protection watchdog. Let's talk to Mari Aurora, our political correspondent, who's just been looking into this and joins me in the studio. I mean, there have been so many cases of sewage overflows and there's been a lot of publicity made of them. But what is this breaking news now telling us?
So this is very specific. So this is the Office for Environmental Protection, and they say they've essentially found only potential failures to comply with environmental law about sewage overflows. So they launched an investigation back in June of last year. That was because they'd received a complaint about this. And then now this is essentially the update from that investigation. This relates to not just DEFRA, the Environment Department in the government, but it also relates to the Environment Agency and also Ofwat as well. And those three bodies then have 2 months to essentially reply to these information notices that they've been issued with. They can reply, they can say they agree or disagree with the Environment Protection Office's conclusions. And if they do agree or they do admit that there are some problems, then they can potentially propose remedial work or practical action measures to try and sort the problem. Now, sewage overflows are important because they prevent sewage backing up into people's homes. And essentially, the issue is discharging sewage from sewage overflows should be used only really in exceptional circumstances because it damages marine life, it damages coastal life, and it also damages freshwater life as well. Now, if failures are to be found, that's still only an if because it's only possible failures for now, the OEP, the Office for Environment Protection, they will then seek to kind of make environmental regulation more robust to try and prevent this from happening in the future. And we have a statement from Ofwat, which is one of the three bodies who have been given these information notices. So an Ofwat spokesperson has said, "We have received a formal information notice from the OEP on the next stage of their investigation into Ofwat, Environment Agency and DEFRA's oversight and regulation of water companies' use of storm overflows in England. We welcome the OEP's considerations, particularly on the clarity of responsibilities for the protection of the environment, and we will work with them as their investigation moves forward." They continue to say that their position remains clear. Water companies' performance on the environment is simply not good enough. We have pushed companies to take urgent action to cut sewage discharges and imposed fines. And they go on to say we keep pushing for change in the improvement of the public right to expect better lessons to be learned. So that's the statement from Ofwat there. Now, when we talk about the government department, DEFRA, these issues are specifically in relation to requirements of urban wastewater legislation, water quality legislation, and a duty to make enforcement orders. And that's all about water companies essentially complying with the law. Speaking to government sources, some are sceptical about how much of this relates to when actually Labour were in power. So I think the government would like to try and spin this as we've been essentially, doing better things from our department, and actually some of this maybe is a legacy issue. But I really don't know if the public will see it that way, especially when we have by-elections coming up in the Blue Wall, and we know sewage is always a vote winner for the Lib Dems.